Super Bowl is in the books, and wow, the Seattle Seahawks didn't just win, they force choked the New England Patriots. The Seattle Seahawks so-called dark side defense turned the biggest stage in football into their personal highlight reel, shutting down one of the league's most disciplined dynasties and sending a message that echoed across the entire NFL. Today, we're breaking down how Seattle flipped the script, what this defensive domination means for the future of the league, and whether this signals a power shift towards smash mouth defense first football again. We shall see. Plus, where do the Patriots go from here? Is this just a stumble for a proven powerhouse, or is it the beginning of a bigger shakeup in New England? Strap in, because we're diving headfirst into the chaos, the consequences, and the championship fallout. This is the Blindside Blitz. I'm Jim McPhee, and unfortunately, Joe could not make it to the show tonight. He might be just still fed up and sick from watching that performance of the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl. Wow. So yeah, that's all we've heard so far, I think, after this game, and how kind of bad or boring it might have been. But it played out like a scenario that we could have all kind of seen coming. You know, we thought we're hoping it was going to be a closer game between these two teams. Both teams that just kind of fought their way through, had some 14 win seasons, and two different teams that, you know, as an aspect on top of it too. Sam Darnold playing mistake-free football throughout the playoffs here, and pretty much being a game manager throughout the season, you know, relying on that defense and then the running the football. And Drake Maye, who is in the running for the MVP race right up to the end here, gets into the playoffs and turning the ball over consistently, totally different from what he looked like from the beginning of the season. So this game, I still didn't mind it. It was great to watch the game and not have like a, you know, somebody a really rooting interest and things like that. So really just kind of check it out and watch it all for what it was. And excuse me, it was just pure just domination. I mean, what Seattle did, and it's not like they killed them like in points. It was what this defense was just doing to the Patriots and making it them just stagnant. And I felt bad for the New England Patriots defense, because they were doing everything they could, set with bad field position, being tired because the offense wasn't moving the ball at all. If you look at the Seattle Seahawks time of possession, they had held the ball about 6+ minutes longer, largely due to the run heavy approach that they've done that sustained drives and just kept it going. And that tires out a defense on top of it. So they had it for 33 minutes, 11 seconds, Patriots 26-49. And what that pass rush was doing on top of it here, 6 sacks, that ties a league record here in the Super Bowl for the most ever. If only had one more, that's a record right there. So Drake Maye was under constant duress, and he also lost a fumble during that pressure. It seemed to me like he was just holding the ball way too long. There was some men open, some players were open, he was holding on to it, didn't want to make that crucial mistake early on, lived to fight another day. But what Seattle was doing, and they weren't exactly scoring touchdowns early on, so the Patriots defense was able to keep them in this game for a very long time. But that offense unable to move the ball efficiently, unable to run the ball as well, and Drake Maye not like driving it down and forcing, you know, some throws downfield to kind of expand the field for this team. It made it easy for the defense. The defense just keyed up on the run, keep everything in front of them, and Drake Maye just didn't perform well, you know. And for a second year guy, I mean, it showed right there. He was nervous, he was rattled, he had some, you know, bad footwork too when he was throwing. He was just missing guys that were open. I mean, there was an Austin Hooper throw where he was wide open and he just over his head, and or some was just darted to the ground. So obviously rattled in that game. That was the difference here. And it wasn't really a close game. And you know, stats and the way the game unfolded, it's going to look a little bit different here towards the end. But it was garbage time yardage. And you saw that towards the end that over 1/3 of the Patriots offense came on late drives in this game to try and get back into it. But that's also when the turnovers commenced too as well. New England 3 turnovers, 2 interceptions, and a lost fumble by Drake Maye. 1 interception towards the end went all the way to the house for 45 yards. I was just like, hey, it was over before that. But then I watched that. I'm like, yo, it's definitely over. The fat lady has sung. The Gatorade was getting chilled, getting ready to go. And you knew it was over after that. And Seattle's turnover margin actually aligned with a historic Super Bowl trend where the turnover winner prevails over 87% of the time as well. So a lot of historic moments happening for the Seahawks here. It's their second in their franchise history. They had 335 yards, New England 331, but again, that was all garbage time at the end of the game. Field goals. I mean, Josh Myers, I think he could have easily been the MVP of this game as well, with him consistently putting in the only points of the game for the whole first 3 quarters, just about almost. And it was looking pretty bad for New England. Although I felt like they were still kind of just a play away from getting into this game. Seattle, one thing that they've done throughout the whole postseason, they had turnover problems in the regular season. We talked about Sam Darnold, but during the playoffs, they were turnover free throughout the entire postseason and includes the Super Bowl. So that is also a record setting feat that made by this team that a lot of people didn't really see making this far. I didn't see them making it this far. I thought they were going to be a better team possibly, but they have such a tough division there with the Rams, the 49ers. I thought maybe the Cardinals would have been better, but they had injuries all over and just, underperformed to get their head coach. So kudos to Seattle and what they did. I mean, they made it easy for Sam Darnold. I know they were media's trying to paint the store for Sam Darnold. Here you go. It's redemption. He is one of only, I think he's the only player that has played for 5 different teams and won a Super Bowl. So that's another milestone here that we've witnessed in this Super Bowl. But the defense, they shut down the New England Patriots throughout 3 quarters. And people were talking to possibly like, hey, are we going to see the first shutout in Super Bowl history? And it looked like it could have been, but again, the Seahawks kind of laying off a little bit and Patriots trying to push the ball down, and something that I wish they did earlier, but it seemed like the difference with Seattle too is they were just going to run in their game. They're taking whatever New England was going to give them, which is just, again, running the football nonstop. They were able to run it down. So don't put the ball in Sam Darnold's hands. I know there was a bunch of times to where the ball's getting tipped, pressured, where they could have been really bad plays on Sam Darnold's end. So the run game and the defense really helped out Sam Darnold in this one and got him to achieve this Super Bowl victory. So if you look at it all, why they won: defensive front over the New England protection. Protection was weak. Will Campbell looked terrible too on top of it, and he was an issue coming into the game, and it showed. The turnover margin +3. They won the turnover margin. They ran the ball. I talked about last week who was going to win this game. It was a team that was going to control the time of possession, run the football efficiently, and Seattle just did all that. And then on special teams, the punter. I mean, let's look at this punter here and what he was able to do. I mean, kicking the ball, I think he made some record in this one too, has some records for Seattle, but very impressive on field goal or on the punting end of it too as well in pinning the ball deep for New England. So they started, like, I don't know what their average starting was for starting position for the Patriots, but I know that they became the Seattle Seahawks became the first franchise to produce 7+ punts, each traveling 40+ yards in a Super Bowl. So the kicker was on. I know at one point New England didn't even put anybody back there just because he was going to do what he was going to do, and they tried to get a pressure punt block, still without success. So Sam Darnold able to get what he needed to get done. Seattle running the football efficiently, and the Patriots. It seemed like the team was never. They had an opportunity to get there, but it seemed like body language was off. I remember Diggs in the middle just about of a play. Maybe the play wasn't designed to go to him, but he was early to put his hands back into his hand warmers, like or whatever, to his side. So I thought the body chemistry was off. It was odd early on for everybody. And on the coaching standpoint, they didn't make it enough adjustments. I mean, you got to try to run the football still, and I get that, but where's the trick plays? Let's do something, spice it up a little bit. And Drake Maye not having vision. They were rushing 4 a lot of different times, but they really didn't disguise anything when they were sending pressure. I know that when the key fumble happened, you knew they were coming. They were coming nonstop, and you had a running back that was going to chip a player, and the routes are going deep. I mean, they were on that play, everybody was going deep, and it wasn't even like a 3rd and 15 situation. Then you got to look and say, all right, you do a chip, and then hot route, somebody where you need to unload the ball to somebody quickly because that guy over there is coming for you. And he didn't make those line of scrimmage decisions, and that was key. So it's been a big learning experience for the Patriots and Drake Maye here. Let's hope that he can kind of take everything that's happened within this game and kind of build from it. But overall, I didn't mind the game. I enjoyed it just watching it, and kudos to Seattle. Seattle got it done. But what does this really mean for the league? I'm watching this game and we all asked for parity. We didn't want to see the same Patriots in the Super Bowl. We didn't want to see, the Chiefs in the Super Bowl every single year. We get tired of it. We're like, oh man, you don't mind it when they're there. They get there, sure, but people get, disgusted with it eventually. They get tired. They're like, oh man, I hate this team. I don't want them there anymore. And so we want parity. The league wants parity. They've tried to set this up, especially with the salary cap and the way the draft is so that every team, every given Sunday has has a chance. Um, we saw that. That was on full display this year. 2025, a lot of different things happened. Let's look at, 5 of the 14 initial 2025 playoff teams lost 11 plus games in 2024. That's a league record. In 2025, also we saw a record number of division winners who had 5 or fewer wins than the year prior. So that was a big flip of the switch. And also game winning finishes. This was the key that I feel like we're going to get a little of both here. So what we saw in the Super Bowl could be the norm to an extent, but it can also be on the opposite side of what I think everybody was asking for. And that's why I think this whole thing not only is parody, but it's also maybe a parody. It's a joke of it. I know we've complained about penalties and it looks sloppy even too, and blah, blah, blah. Is this what we get now? But with all of that, and a game like this one where we're getting really good defenses, that's where their teams invested their money in. They went defense, stop this. They build their team to win their division. That's what I've always said with these teams. They build their team to win their division and then take it from there. And this year, we got a team that was just defensive back and forth, trying to stop the offenses altogether and relied on all field goals, in the first half of the game. Till the end, we finally got some scoring here. But any given Sunday, any team can make it. That's what happened with the Patriots. People talk about the strength of their schedule or whatnot. They lost to the Raiders early on in the season, but then they beat the Bills. They powered through the playoffs by who they played. A banged up Chargers squad was there in the playoffs. The Broncos didn't have their starting quarterback in Bo Nix, so they had an easier path, but they did it. They still won. On any given Sunday, anybody can do it, and that's how it's set up here. Game-winning finishes in 2025 postseason. The postseason featured record-setting fourth-quarter lead changes and comeback wins in the final 3 minutes, and that's what we've all kind of been thirsty for when we look at parity. We're like, this is what we want to see. We saw it throughout the season, even not just even the postseason. How many lead changes happened and how many dramatic wins at the end? Some of it due to the referees and what crazy calls that they have made. What's a catch? What's not a catch? Example, the Buffalo Bills and the Broncos. That's a key one right there. And also, if you think about it, as of late in 2025, no single team has proven to be dominant in a large number of teams, sometimes as many as 16, maintaining realistic Super Bowl hopes well into the season. So we've seen teams start off pretty hot, and then it kind of fizzles out, and then anybody's there. How many times do we look at the Indianapolis Colts surging, coming out early? Are they one of the best teams? Oh my goodness, look at Daniel Jones, what he's doing for his team. Look at the Green Bay Packers early on. They look dominating. We're like, wow, they've got Micah Parsons now too. Are they going to be the best team in the league? And they fizzled out. Wide open title races to where so many teams just flip-flopped to winning that division. Texans came in and took over. But unfortunately, you get to the postseason and, you lay an egg. Overall, this league, I think this can be the future. Oh, if you didn't like the way the game was, we might see more of that. But we might see two teams that don't have great defenses on top of it, just an all-out shootout. You might see, 60 point, games, if you're betting under overs and things like that. I didn't think this game was going to be like that, and it played out pretty much how it was. I think the line, somebody said at least 45 on one of our shows. I responded and said, no, I don't think it's going to be 45. It's heavily into the kicker, and there we go. And we saw that. But it could be not every season, but we could see more of this every year. So be prepared. We ask for parity. This is what you're going to get. You're going to get highs and lows, teams that are close, maybe defensively, slow, boring, just controlling the clock. And then on the other side, just nonstop, bang, 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 no defense is all offense. But is that exactly good to watch either, though? I mean, how many teams you watch were like, oh man, that defense is getting lit up. They suck. So be careful what you ask for. We asked for this. The league asked for this. They're getting, I think, in return, some of the stuff that they wanted with people watching so the final 3 minutes, those different comebacks and lead changes, that's what they planned for. How many games this year also went down into overtime where it was just game deciding, and those new overtime rules change everything. And this is why this league offseason, when they get together again, they're going to look at the onside kicks again. They will not let this thing go. I think they need to, because if you're leading a game or if you are within regulation, you have every right to that's what you're doing. You've proven yourself to win that game or lead that game. Onside kicks should be a random thing that, hey, that's your Hail Mary. That's your last shot to do anything. It's supposed to be a low percentage play. It's supposed to be something that, like, man, we're totally out of it, but we need a miracle. And there it is. It isn't, hey, there's not enough of these are being completed or whatever, and not a high enough percentage, is happening. So we need to do something. This isn't right. Every team should have a chance. Why are we now giving participation trophies out to teams now just for losing for most of the game? I mean, that's ridiculous. So now this whole 4th and 15 or whatever they want to do, they're reconsidering this again. And I really hope that this is something that they don't get into, because I think it's a path we don't want to go down. It's something I don't really want to see. I understand people talk about the college game and this, but do you see other leagues say, hey, let's see what this other lower league is doing? Maybe I don't understand people like college football, so I don't mean to demean it either and say lower or this, but it is. People go through college and school sports and college sports. There's a step ladder. The NFL is up here. Why are we taking advice from down there? This is the game. This is the game that everybody loved. Why are we trying to include people that never loved the game the way it was? And I don't get that. I mean, viewership and everything, it's all there anyway. There's many ways to watch the game all over the place. To change the rules and change all these different things that we all loved and found dear and make more sense is mind-boggling to me. I just don't get it. And I think the NFL is traveling down a very poor path here, and I don't really want to see any of this. So, folks, again, if you like the Super Bowl, you're going to see some more of that possibly. But if you didn't, be prepared. This is parity. So I think we're going to see that. Any given year, a team's going to make a run, and we're going to get two teams that may not be the best or what is the best, but they were on those particular days that led them to that path. So be prepared for everybody for that. And that's the league now that we now face. All right. So the next question, these two teams, now that the big game is over, where do we go from here? All right. Well, there's some questions to be asked here, because going into free agency, the Seattle Seahawks have a few key players I feel like they need to re-sign or figure out what they're going to do. Everybody's already counting on Kenneth Walker III to be out. And I would say offer him something, do what you can to keep him there. Yes, you've got Charbonnet, but when he went down, who'd you rely on? Who is the MVP of the Super Bowl? If you didn't have Kenneth Walker III, we might be looking at a way worse game then. I mean, no matter what the defense was doing to Drake Maye, but if you're not able to efficiently run the football down, Sam Darnold, he didn't look the best. So I think that's a key player, but what's he asking for? So that would be something to watch and a key decision for the Seattle Seahawks to make. But for them, you have to look on the defensive side of the ball. with Tariq Woolen, Kobe Bryant, all free agents. You got to lock those guys in. Take care of that defense. Mafi's out there too as well, linebacker. He's a playmaker, not as big of a guy, so I think you could let him walk too. But I think those couple of guys here, your safety, your corner, Woolen, key players. On top of it, back to the offensive side of the ball, Shaheed. This team was pretty good before, but it wasn't until John Schneider went out and got Rashid Shaheed from the New Orleans Saints. He was the X factor. When you ask about X factors in the Super Bowl, he was maybe one of those guys that could have made it happen. Uh, didn't exactly happen that way, but he definitely was the difference maker in the second half of the season once they acquired him right away. Right away, he fit right in. And also started right off with Rashid Shaheed returning a kickoff in the NFC Championship game. That set the tone for everything. So the electric plays that this guy makes, you got to bring him in because that offense was pretty good before in doing some good things, but it just got that much better with Rashid Shaheed there. So that's one decision for the Seattle Seahawks to make here moving forward. But then also at the same time, Klint Kubiak's gone. So what do they do offensively? How's this offense going to look now? We've spoken about Klint Kubiak being able to do what he has done for Sam Darnold. What happens with Sam Darnold now? Does he still continue to play at a pretty good level here? At least what he was in the playoffs, mistake-free football. Or does it change? We've seen the difference that makes with the Eagles where they lose when they win a Super Bowl and then they lose a coordinator, they're down, and then they get the guy that works well. Boom, they go back up, and then they lose a guy again to getting another head coaching job, and the cycle continues. Does this happen to the Seattle Seahawks? That is one thing to watch with this upcoming season. That's along with the free agency. What effect of not having Klint Kubiak there will that have on the team altogether offensively or just Sam Darnold in general as well? And then also finally for the Seahawks, the fact that they have to be sold at one point. That's written in the will of Paul Allen's will that he was going to sell his franchises. The Portland Trailblazers are right now going for sale right now, and all the money that he gets, that the estate gets from that sale, goes to charity. So kudos to him too, and putting that in his will and what that means and everything. But it doesn't have to be this year, but that states in the estates too, also in the will. That doesn't have to be right now, but it does need to be sold. And if you want the team to be worth its height, there's no better time than right now than they just won the Super Bowl. And it might stink for, Seahawks fans or even, his sister, my own sister, Jody Allen, but hey, this is where the value's at. So it can't get any bigger than this. And even though they're not going to be making the money off of this whole thing, it's going to go to the charities that they want to invest in. And right now, I think Adam Schefter was saying something around 10 billion. If you look at the most recent team and that sold for the most was the Washington Commanders. I want to say it was roughly around 6 billion. We'll say 6.5 billion. So other estimates say 7-8 billion. So if Adam Schefter is correct at $10 billion, this franchise is worth, this is the highest it's probably going to get. Because what happens if this team doesn't look like they did this year? Sam Darnold doesn't look like he did this past season. That's got to bring your value down, no matter what they just did. John Schneider's still going to be John Schneider. I get that. But they just won the Super Bowl. They did one of the impossible things of having a down year last year, and then second year, Mike McDonald as the head coach gets Sam Darnold, and boom, they make the run and they make the playoffs. It wasn't the Los Angeles Rams. It wasn't the Eagles, So they've done something special here, and that has raised the bar, and that has raised the value of this franchise. So if you're going to sell, everybody knows in stocks, like this is the time to sell then. So that could be something looming over the Seahawks as well. Not that the change of ownership is going to make too much of a wave probably with this. It all depends what ownership group grabs it and stuff and how involved they're going to be in some of it. They might just say, yeah, John Schneider, do what you do. You do what you're doing. You're doing a great job. Do what you do best. Keep it rolling. I'm just going to sit here and, sounds good. Now, on the Patriots side of the ball, I feel like they might have got set up in a better position. It would have been nice if they won, for them especially. But even coming off a loss and Drake Maye getting rattled and just not looking comfortable, which was kind of funny too, because they kept bringing up the fact that last time he saw a Super Bowl, he was at that stadium. He was a root for the Carolina Panthers, who played against the New England Patriots. And at that same game, he loved Cam Newton. Cam Newton was very rattled in that game. He would never settle down in that game. So they got beat by the New England Patriots single-handedly as well. Patriots defense, but nowhere near what this defense looked like for Seattle. But some kind of aspect happened here where, if he was a fan of if Cam Newton, Newton had choked in that game, and then you can see Drake may do the same thing, but he's still 23 years old. He got that experience early. It would be sad if they don't make it back there, because it's not always a given thing, even though Patriots are kind of used to that. And by the way, now the Patriots records in Super Bowls, they've been in 12. So now they are 6-6. So that looking, although impressive, making it to 12, their record's only 500 right now. So moving forward for them, they might be in a better position, because what did happen in this last season? They went from a 4-win team to a 14-win team. The difference was Mike Vrabel and getting key free agents. Some of the free agents that are going to happen this year weren't some of those one-year deals and stuff. People that are moving on, that I feel like they can now acquire some better free agents to fill some of those voids. I would say Austin Hooper, you're gone. I think edge rusher Chason, that's some guy you should try and bring back. And Tonga, I even like Tonga here, but you're not going to overpay or anything like that for a guy like that. But I think another guy to try and bring back in. But seeing the Patriots go from 4 wins to 14 wins and make the Super Bowl, that is going to have free agents saying, hey, okay, the Patriot way, it works again. I want to go there. I want to go coach. I want to go play for that guy. We've seen people talk about maybe AJ Brown because he doesn't fit over there. Does he go back to his guy and wanted to keep him over in Tennessee and now he's there? Could that be a potential trade or what happens? Who knows? We've seen stranger things happen, especially draft night. So there's something to watch there. But free agents coming up will want to gravitate towards the Patriots now. They have 18 free agents this year, unrestricted free agents, and they're not really losing a lot in some of those guys. Some of the names like even, Tommy DeVito, things like that, Craig Reynolds. So guys that aren't really out there playing all the time. So they don't have to really work on trying to bring in some of these guys back. So that clears the slate and they can bring in some more top talent, maybe another wide receiver, maybe again, more on defense, get a little younger, just get some of these studs over there, get some more pass pressure. I mean, yes, Williams was doing some stuff for you there too as well, but what New England really did was grab pretty good talent and get the best out of everybody. Now they need to grab in some really elite talent and add to this roster. And I feel like the way they performed this year, and now I think some people do believe in Drake Maye and what he's been able to do. And at a young age, it's still on that rookie contract. This could be a brighter future for the Patriots moving forward than the Seattle Seahawks. So Seattle comes out with the win. They had the better team. And they got done for the Super Bowl, but the Patriots in the long term might be the team that can come back out and get back to the Super Bowl quicker and potentially have a different outcome. All right, so that's it. That's the show for me tonight. I hope you guys really appreciate the video. Make sure you guys like, subscribe to the channel on YouTube, and you can get us wherever you get your podcasts, Google, Spotify, Pandora. Check it out. Hit the subscribe button. Like I said, comments. Leave some comments too. Comment on a video, whether you agree with me or you don't. I still want to hear from you. It's all good, so you can tell me what your opinion is. We will respond. We appreciate everything that you guys do for us. That's it for this season. We appreciate you guys, and we're excited for next coming off season, the NFL draft coming up. So we'll be back on here with more interviews, more insight, and more fun for you guys. So thanks a lot. I'll see you guys in the next one.
Hey everybody, this is William Del Pilar, founder of Grumblings Media, and I want to say thank you for watching our content. If you want to support our all-volunteer efforts at Grumblings Media, smash the subscribe button right here. 100% free, and please consume and share our great content. Click either one of these two boxes for more of our work.